Hi, everyone. It's Holly with Hollywood Wellness. So this has been my week. I have been wiped out. And I really try to pay attention when I hit that tipping point of feeling just tired. Like my energy it's like the plug was just taken out and that energy just drains completely out of me. Been really trying to pay attention to that and what's causing it and doing different so that I don't go into a spiral crash downward. And fortunately, I have some really wonderful friends who are like, hey, this is what's going on. And one of them pointed out, thank you, Irene. One of them pointed out, she said, you are doing so many different things. Everyone wants a piece of you. I'll say that again. Everyone wants a piece of you. And not in a bad way. But we're in this time of year where give, do. And end of year activities and getting all the holiday stuff done and the regular stuff. And she was absolutely right. My energy was being dispersed and still is. It's being dispersed in all of these different directions rather than just being, pulled in and focused. It's scattered energy. And I don't really do well with that. Another friend of mine, we were talking on the phone last night and she's like, well, what if you didn't do those things? Which is funny because that's the exact same question I would ask my clients. Like, what if you gave yourself permission to just take a couple days where you don't do all of your business activities besides meeting with clients that you've got scheduled? And it was like, oh my goodness, the weight that lifted off my body, permission to slow down and rest. See, rest, that is the most underestimated component that we have in our well-being. We push and we go and we do and we try to expect the impossible of ourselves. Expect ourselves to be Superman or Superwoman, but we don't expect that of other people. And she's like, what if you just stop and listen for a little bit? Just listen for the answer instead of trying to keep knee-jerk reacting, keep running for the answer. What if you just stop and listen? Again, that would be my own advice, but sometimes we need someone outside of ourselves to give us the very permission that we give to other people, right? Now let's talk about rest in terms of exercise, because it's actually something that is a component in fitness. It's a component in wellness. It's a spiritual component. And yet for whatever reason, we have this disconnect that we're not allowed to stop and rest other than sleep. And let me ask you, how many of you get 8 hours of sleep every night? Good sleep. It is something that we need. So in fitness, when you lift, you need to give yourself a day of rest. You need 48 hours between your lifting that body part and when you lift it again. This is why. Because when you lift, when you overload your muscles, when you stress your muscles in a good way so that they can grow, you're actually tearing, putting little micro tears in the muscle fibers. So that recovery period is where it goes back in and builds stronger muscle fibers. You need that rest. If you overload again, you're actually going to end up breaking down the muscle fibers in actually a pretty short amount of time. It doesn't take long to do that. Now think about that in terms of life. We're overloaded. How many of you are overloaded on your schedule, in your finances, in your health, in your stress? How many of you feel overloaded somewhere in your life? Maybe the answer isn't doing more. Maybe the answer is to give yourself a little rest and recovery, a little pause, a little reset. See, Jesus commanded, I was going to say commands, that came out really weird. Jesus commanded, "Come to me, all you who are weary, and I will give you rest." It's spiritual. God rested on the seventh day. Every major religion honors a day of rest, a day of restoration, or at least it's commanded. It doesn't mean it's followed. Now, rest doesn't mean that you have to sleep. There's nothing like a really nice nap. I'm a big fan of naps, I'm going to tell you. There's nothing quite like that. That's not necessarily what that means. Rest can come in a lot of different ways. Give yourself time to read a book just for fun. Give yourself time to watch a movie. Give yourself time to just sit and be. Go out in nature. Go for a hike. Even though that's physical activity, it's mental stimulation to be out in nature. There are so many ways that you can seek rest and restoration. And the interesting thing is that when we allow ourselves to rest, that's when creative juices kick in. That's often when we find the answers. It's not when we keep pushing. Because when we push, we just kind of try the same thing over and over and over again. When we rest, we give ourselves a chance to pull back and take a different view. And when we re-engage, we have a different perspective. So don't underestimate the power of rest. You're not being lazy. Doing nothing, not being productive, sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's exactly what's going to allow you to be more productive. It's kind of a counterintuitive thing. But giving yourself permission to stop, slow down, smell the roses, that's a way to restore your health, to restore your soul, to restore your mind, to clear all of that out and come back re-energized and recharged. So have a great Friday. I hope you take some time this weekend to pause, to stop, to take an easy, slow morning, or whatever that might look like for you. Just to give yourself some breathing space in the midst of this crazy, crazy holiday season. Have a great Friday, everyone. Thanks for joining.